So today's element that we're going to work with is fire. In Sanskrit, that is agni. And part of the reason I chose this is because we went on a little trip away to the mountains, which was beautiful for a few days. But on the way, we went south down on the road on 52 towards Ponce, and we saw a few fires on the way. So they were forest fires. Luckily, they weren't huge, but there were a few of them that we saw, and it made me think about fire. On the one hand, I was really sad because I was like, fire is like really destructive, right? It can really cause some damage. But on the other hand, it's a chance to clear the undergrowth and debris, and it's a chance for new growth, right? It will enrich the soil. So it's got both of these sides. It's got the destruction and it's got the new growth or creation, right? There's also there's a Hindu goddess called Kali, and she also has these traits, right? She's really fierce. She's kind of associated with death in some ways. She's got these skulls that she often is depicted with, these skulls hanging around her neck, right, of people that maybe she had killed, right? But at the same time, she also embodies creation. So she's sort of got this, that she's linked with fertility, with creativity, with kind of a strong maternal figure. So we've got these kind of opposites that work together, right? But fire and Kali, they represent transformation, change, passion, growth, all of these things. So I would think that I was also thinking that before COVID happened, we were very focused. Well, I'm generalizing, maybe it's just me, but I felt that we were, as humans in general, we often were very focused on our to-do lists, right? And our own individual lives, we were very kind of in our little cocoons. And there was a lot of complacency, apathy, right? A sense that we personally as individuals couldn't make that much of a difference, maybe. And again, this might just be my interpretation. Maybe that wasn't the feeling of everybody, but I sort of get a sense in society that there was this apathy, right? So the idea with fire, with this element of fire, it's the idea that you can push through this stagnation, this lethargy, this status quo. You can work hard to burn the old, right, what doesn't serve us, and make space for what is new. It isn't always comfortable, right, but it's necessary for change. Otherwise, we just stay the same. If we don't have this fire, if we don't try to push through change and transformation, we just end up staying the same. So there's this quote by Audre Lorde. She was a civil rights activist and a feminist. She said, "You cannot use someone else's fire. You can only use your own. And in order to do that, you must first be willing to believe you have it." So I'll read that again. You cannot use someone else's fire. You can only use your own. And in order to do that, you must first be willing to believe you have it. So we've got to build that fire from within. So in yoga, on our mats, it's about finding your edge, finding intensity, building heat. It's not always comfortable, and you have to determine what your own intensity is. So you might get to a point where you're like, that's enough, and you recognize you've already met your edge. You don't have to meet the edge of someone else's intensity, right? You meet your own edge and you take a break. So I encourage you in this class to identify your own intensity, and you meet that, or you'll meet your own edge, and then you can back off. So I want you to ask yourself to start the class, what changes are you passionate about seeing in your life? and in the world? I'll ask that again. What change or changes are you passionate about seeing in your own life and in the world? And then secondly, how can you help to make that change? We cannot change everything as one person, but maybe us as a person can help to make a small part of the change. So it's something to sit with as we work through the intensity today in class. So finding a comfortable pose. Now, the ring finger is the finger that's associated with fire. So we're going to touch the thumb and the ring finger as we sit or kneel, shoulders away from the ears, and close your eyes. And just pause for a moment. And just scan your body and notice whether you feel any fire, any intensity, or any kind of drive in you this morning. Maybe you're feeling the opposite, that's okay. Just notice, like, what level are you feeling, like from stagnation to fire? Somewhere along the way, and we have it somewhere in the middle most probably, and just notice how you're feeling. You can also check in with your body and notice how you're feeling physically, how you're feeling mentally. Just observing, being that scientist. And then bringing your focus to the breath. That can also help us to build fire within us, to build that creativity, that drive. So just bringing your attention to your breath, slowing the breath down and breathing through the nose, starting by just lengthening the breath. And then with your eyes closed, you can keep them closed if you like, you can bring your arms up overhead, spreading your fingers here. And we're just going to do a kriya. So we're just working with a couple of movements and with the breath. So as you inhale through the nose, your arms are reaching up and your fingers are spread wide. And as you exhale, you're bending your elbows and the hands come into fists down by your hips. So you're going to work that and it's going to be quite intense. So you're just working with your breath all through your nose. Last three. And then relaxing the hands down, you can come back to that mudra with your thumb and your ring finger just resting on your legs. And just notice that fire that you're starting to kindle inside you and burn. Just observe, notice any tingling or any sensations in the body. And pause here for a moment. Gently opening your eyes. Inhale, reaching the arms up. We're going to just perhaps show what the Kali Mudra is. So your thumbs just cross over, your index fingers are up. And so that is Kali Mudra. So it's kind of, you can imagine it's like a flame or a sword up overhead. You're just reaching it up over there for the moment. Coming over to your left, just a small little side stretch. Inhaling, coming up, and coming over to the other side. Coming back through center and inhale. You're just twisting to one side. Maybe dropping the ear to the front shoulder, finding a stretch in the neck. Inhale, coming through center, and exhale, other direction. And you can just again let that ear just fall to the front shoulder. And coming up. One more time with the Kali Mudra. We'll be playing with this a bit today. And then hands to heart center. So we're going to come onto hands and knees. Although we're going to, instead of coming directly onto your hand, you're going to come onto your forearms. So bringing the elbows directly under shoulders, knees under hips. And bringing the left leg out behind you, pressing it out, pressing the heel out, maybe pressing the ball of the foot out. And we're just going to start with kind of circles with that leg. So you can inhale through one cycle and maybe exhale through one cycle if you like, or finding your breath and notice how it works, whatever works for you. So just finding these circles. And maybe going the other direction. Notice where you feel this in your body. And then you can just bounce that foot up and down. Excellent. Returning it to the ground. Other side, stretching that foot out, pressing heel out, pressing ball of the foot out, and making your circles with that leg. Maybe going the other way. Just notice, where do you feel it in your body? Which muscles are working? What are you firing up? And then you can also maybe just do some small little movements with that leg up and down. And then you're going to bring the knee back down. You're going to bring both legs out this time. So we're coming into quite an intense pose here. You can always drop the knees. Pressing the heels back of your knees are up. Noticing again, where do you feel this stretch? Heels are pressing back. The arms are actually moving, so as though you're moving your arms towards your feet, but it's just a supple pull. And then also with your toes, as though you're moving them towards your arms, and notice that it ups the intensity of this pose. Taking a couple of breaths. Again, finding your edge, but everybody's edge is different. So you might want to bring your knees down, you might want to do something different, that's all fine. We're turning onto the side, so you can have both of your feet down, the edges of your feet, or you can come onto the side here. Maybe you can play with just lifting up a little bit with the top foot. You can always have your knee down and lift up here. So you've got lots of options at finding your own intensity, and also if your body's already tired, finding something else or a little bit calmer. So finding that pose, wobbles and all. Whew. Whether it works for you today or not, all good. And then coming back. into center. We're going the other direction, finding that pose here, and maybe play with lifting through that leg. Coming back to center, and maybe walking the feet up towards the elbows. Dolphin pose, pressing the elbows into the ground, away from you, pushing the sit bones up and back. And taking 2 more breaths here. Walking the feet back. Knees come down, hips come down, opening through the chest here. Now you're going to take your fingers into that Kali Mudra, the hands gesture. So you're going to come down, lengthening the arms in front of you with that mudra out in front of you, and lifting up through the arms and through the legs. Heels zip together, lifting and breathing here. Noticing where your edge is. Maybe you think you've had enough, maybe take 2 more breaths at that point. Or maybe you really have had enough and take a break. Releasing. We're going to turn onto the backs here, onto your back here. So we're going to interlace the fingers behind the head, elbows coming out to the side, feet coming up. So everything's in right angles here, with your ankles, your knees, your hips. Inhaling, you're lifting your shoulders and your head up, but you're not straining your neck. It's just relaxing into your fingers. Inhale here. Exhale, just straightening through the right leg. The left knee doesn't move towards you. You're just bringing the right elbow over towards that left leg. Inhale, coming up. You're lifting the sits bones a little bit. And then you're exhaling the other way, getting length through that left leg. Inhale, center. Lift and exhale. So you're engaging the core. Inhale, lifting and exhale here. Inhale through center. Lift, exhale. Inhale, 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 lift. This is the last one. Center, exhale. Coming into center, giving yourself a nice hug, moving from side to side. Just noticing how that felt. Where do you feel it now? Notice you're building up the heat. A lot of that time it's in the core within yoga that we think about building up the heat. You're going to take your right leg and wrap it around the left. It can just be once. You can tuck it underneath. Twice. The left arm then comes over the right. So you're stretching everything away from each other to begin with. And then exhale, you're lifting up through the shoulders, through the head, bringing the elbows and the knees towards each other and taking 3 deep breaths here. Reaching out away from each other. You can let your head just relax again. And then one more time, squeezing in, elbows to knee. And unwinding, we're going the other direction. This time the left leg comes over the right. And you've got the right arm over the left. Moving everything away from each other. And then lifting up the shoulders, the head, bringing everything in, squeezing 3 deep breaths. reaching away from each other, relaxing the head and for the moment. And one more time. Unwinding everything, just allowing yourself to flop on the ground and relax. Taking a couple of breaths, slowing the breath down, slowing the heart rate down. Then we're going to roll back onto the belly. We're going to come back into that Kali Mudra, reaching the arms in front, lifting up one more time. Hands then come, the forearms come back down on the ground with the knees lifted or kept down. Either option is fine. You're lifting up plank pose, so you've got different options. And then the hands are going to come underneath the shoulders in plank pose. And coming back, downward facing dog here. Taking a few deep breaths. And then you can walk your feet up to your hands. So just walking them, or you can play with jumping here as well if you like. So you can look forward and hop. So that's also an option. Just playing with how you want to get from the back up to the front. And then for everybody, finding your way forward. Folding here. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Arms out to the side, reaching all the way up. Hands come into the Kali Mudra at the top and coming into a little back bend here. And exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to then bring the hands up on the inhale, hands into Kali Mudra again. And we're going to sit down with the feet together. And we're going to sit down into chair pose. So taking some breaths here. If you know breath of fire, it's a pumping of the navel. So we're just exhaling, 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 and not really focusing on the inhale. So let's get started. If you want to join in, taking a deep breath in through the nose, and then exhale, exhale, exhale. Exhale everything out. Hands to heart center, so you feel that heat building from inside. We're twisting over to the right here. Finding your twist. Now you can welcome to come back into center if you like, if this is too much once we lift that left leg up. So we're going to keep focused on that right leg, grounding down, lifting up through the left and kicking it back, calming now into a twist. Here, take a breath, any variation that you like. So just listening to what your body wants to do in this pose. And then we're going to come to center. over that front leg. Now you might want to grab onto some blocks if you have them, or books, or you don't need to, or you can do without as well. But we're going to straighten through that front leg here. And then that right hip is coming back, left hip coming forward, finding length through the back. And then exhaling, folding down over that front leg. Now we're going to keep the right hand down, and we're just going to open up through the left side. The left hand is going to come down, folding down one more time. And then you're going to open up through the right side, finding your twist here in pyramid pose. Right hand is going to come down. We're going to play with lifting up through that back leg. You can keep that right, you can place that right arm back up again if you would like. But we're lifting, coming into this awkward twist, breathing here. Finding your edge, placing that foot back down, hand is back down. You're going to lift up through that leg now, coming into a standing splits. Bending through that back knee. You're just going to stay here. You might put your hands in prayer. You might put them into the Kali Mudra. See if you can find a balance here. It's hard. So finding your edge, or just using your hands down on the ground, all good. And then carefully stepping that leg back, bringing the arms up overhead in Kali Mudra, reaching on up, finding a little back bend here. And then reaching the arms forward, leaning forward. So you've got length from the back heel all the way up to the fingertips. And then coming up straight, you're stepping, lifting up through that left leg, kicking it forward. And then the foot comes back down. Hands back to heart center. Closing the eyes. Feel that fire building inside of you. Finding that power, that strength of what it might be able to be used for. Taking one more breath, you might have your eyes closed or with a soft gaze. Coming back into Kali Mudra, opening the eyes. Arms come up, we're coming back into chair pose. I like to have the feet and the knees together, but for some people it's just preferable to have them apart. So you listen to what works for you. We're bringing the weight back into the heels, so you can look down. You should be able to look down and see your toes. Maybe lift the toes, spread the toes. We're going to inhale here, and then we're going to work with the breath of fire here again. So inhale deeply, and then exhale, 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 exhale. You're pumping the navel. Don't even worry about the inhale. I promise you that it will happen. And exhale everything out. Hands come to heart center. Staying where you are, we're going to bring the hands to heart center and we're twisting over to the left this time. So finding your twist, breathing here. And then playing with picking up that right leg. So you might have to see whether you can lift it, put it behind you. You can always come back into center instead if that works better for you. And then finding whatever works in this twist for you. Breathing here. Any variation. And we're going to then come into center. Hands coming down. They can be on blocks, on books, on the ground, all good. Back foot comes in a little bit. Left leg straightens, pyramid pose. Finding length through your back. Your left hip coming back a bit. Right hip coming forward a bit. So your inner thighs should be meeting here. And exhale, folding over that front leg. Inhaling, you can bring your right arm up, finding your twist in one direction. This is more of an open twist. Breathing deeply through the nose, long, slow breaths. Building that intensity, that fire. Hand comes down. We're lifting up through the other side, finding your twist in this direction. Now you can bring this left hand back down before you lift the leg up, or you can play with just simply lifting up through that back leg. Breathing here. Hand comes down. You can bring the back, well, sorry, we're going to lift up first so you can come into a standing split, folding forward, taking a couple of breaths here. And then bending through that back knee, maybe bringing the hands to heart center. Maybe finding that Kali Mudra with your fingers. That back foot pressing back, arms reaching all the way up. Maybe coming a bit behind the ears, finding a little back bend here. And then you're going to reach forward, finding some length from the back heel all the way up to the fingertips. Calming back up. That's, we're going to lean forward, one more time, lifting through that back leg, and then bringing it up, kicking it forward. And then the foot comes back, and you can bring the hands down to heart center, closing the eyes, feeling that heat within you. Notice how it's changed your breath, your heartbeat. And breathe. Slowing it all down. We're going to open the eyes here, bringing the hand into Kali Mudra one more time. We're going to bring ourselves, we can start coming into a squat, and then we're going to bring the knees out to the sides. Reaching the fingers up, really stretching, finding your balance here. And you can work breath of fire again if you like. And just to give you a bit more clarity, you're just pumping. Every time you exhale, your belly is going in and up. So you're pumping your belly. So you can do this if you don't like it, just do normal breathing, it's fine. Exhaling everything out, hands to heart center. So we're going to come down and we're going to come into frog pose here. So there's some intensity in the frog pose as well, and we're using everything at right angles again. So there's a right angle at the knee, at the hip, and at the ankle. So you're coming down, you're trying to keep your hips in line with your knees. And you can move your knees as far away apart as you can, being gentle though, obviously you don't want to go too far. Finding your frog pose. You can keep your fingers in Kali Mudra above your head if you like. And breathe. So recognizing the intensity, the challenge. Sometimes we have to go through some intensity in order to get to the other side, to make change, right? To find growth. So breathe here. While you're in this pose, notice if you want to fidget. A lot of the time it's quite challenging and we end up fidgeting. So try to find some stillness. Before you do, check that your shoulders are away from your ears and that your jaw is relaxed. So you might move it from side to side. And then see if you can take 6 deep breaths here and find some stillness. Focusing on your breath. Once you are done, slowly making your way back up. Feet can come in, knees can come in, and we're going to come sitting on the mat for a while. So we're just going to come into a boat pose and make our way down with this. So we're going to lengthen through the back, finding lift through the legs. You might have one foot down or the other, that's all fine. You might find you can straighten through the legs. So you're just listening and finding a way to work this. And before we go down onto the mats, we're going to find a little twist here. So you bring your hand out to the outside of that leg, opening here, finding a bit of a twist and a balance all at once. Calming back through center, going the other way. Taking one more breath, Coming back to center. And then slowly, slowly, slowly calming on down. And just dropping to the floor. Noticing the ground beneath you, that feel of the ground. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale out through the mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, we can do an audible sound through the mouth. Ha. One more time. Inhale, nose. Exhale, mouth. Ha. We're going to take the hands underneath the butt so that they're palm face down, and then just bringing the legs up. So it can be the butt, it can be underneath the lower back, whatever feels better. You might find the lower back works a bit more. So you're pressing the lower back into your hands if they're under your back. Taking a deep breath here. Maybe a couple of more. And then we're going to slowly lower the legs down, but we want to keep that back pressing down into the hands or the ground as we move the legs down. So you might need to pause to make sure that that lower back continues to press in. Slowly moving it down, and then slowly coming back up with control. Woo. So you can play and see where the placement of the hand feels better, of the hands. And slowly one more time, moving it down. They're just hovering off the ground. And then inhale, pressing the back into the ground as you move the legs up. Bending the knees, giving them a squeeze, moving from side to side. Excellent. You're going to bend through the right knee, left leg is hovering here. You can maybe even do some little circles, make some little circles with that left leg or the left foot. Trying to keep your lower back pressing into the ground still. And going the opposite direction with that leg. And switching. Other leg in, and you can make some little circles with that heel. Opposite direction. Great. Bringing both knees in, squeezing them here. Pressing the arms down into the ground, shoulders into the ground. You can maybe even bring the fingertips up. I've been enjoying this lately. Feet press into the ground. Inhale, lifting up through the hips here. Now you can play with lifting up through that right leg, having the knees parallel to each other, just stretching the heel out on that right foot. Notice the intensity, notice which muscles are working, breathing here. And release, other leg, stretching it out. And releasing. Back comes down, feet come up to the sky, happy baby. If this is too much, you do it with one leg and switch over to the other, making sure you do both sides. Breathing here, maybe finding some movement, rolling from side to side. You can maybe grab onto your big toe and lengthen through one leg, and maybe lengthening through the other leg. You can play with that, or you can play with opening through both, lengthening through both, trying to keep your lower back still pressing down into the ground. Taking a few breaths, whether it's with one leg straightened or both legs straightened, just make sure you get both sides done. And then just play if there's any other pose you would like, if you have a headstand practice, or if you would like to do anything else, shoulder stand, or you can place the soles of your feet together and knees just falling out to the side. Finding a little bit of rest, right? We're going to start calming down after this final pose that you're choosing to do. So notice what you would like to do. So in final pose of intensity, you can also do fish pose with the palms underneath your butt, opening chest up to the sky, head coming back. Just finding one more pose that really speaks to you. And then for everybody, finding your way back down into Baddha with the feet touching, knees coming out, shoulders pressing into the ground. Closing the eyes here. Notice how that fire worked through your body. And then after the fire, perhaps noticing the seeds of transformation or change. Just allowing that just to wash over you. Three more breaths here. Knees are going to come up, and we're going to move the feet about mat's width distance apart. And we're just going to drop the knees over to the right side. That right ankle or foot can just kind of just come on top of that knee, of the left knee. Arms can come out to the sides. And if it feels good, you can look over your left fingertips. Or maybe close your eyes here, finding your spinal twist. Focusing on the breath, slow, deep breaths here. Moving into that transformation. Unhooking that ankle from the knee, bringing knees up to center, and dropping the knees the other way, just making sure that they're wide, the feet are wide enough to allow them just to fall without touching each other. That left ankle just hooking over that right knee. And then you can look over the right fingertips if it feels good on your neck, and close your eyes here. Focusing on your breath, Slow breaths through the nose. You can always think of the word in as you breathe in and out as you breathe out. Slowly unhooking that left ankle, bringing the knees back up and giving yourself a lovely unconditional hug. Recognizing that it's hard to transform and change, but it's also what's beautiful about life, allowing ourselves to grow. So giving yourself a really nice squeeze here. And then allowing yourself to come into your Shavasana. Just allowing the toes just to splay open, palms face up, shoulders pressing down. And give yourself this gift. After all that fire, after all that work, give yourself that gift of just letting go. It's a beautiful gift. You can let go of your breath, of controlling your breath. There is nothing you need to do here at all, but just be here in this moment. movement in your body, wriggling your fingers and your toes, maybe circling wrists and ankles, or moving your head from side to side, just gently. And then fingers can reach up overhead, getting length from fingertips to toes. Bringing knees into center, one final hug of the cloth. And moving over onto your right side, maybe using your right arm as a pillow. Feeling that ground there beneath you, there to support you. And when you're ready, just gently pressing yourself up into a seated pose. Finding length through your back. So however you're sitting, just wanting length through your back. You can bring your palms face up. You can touch your thumbs with your ring fingers. And just pause for a moment. Just to counter all that hard work that we did and that fiery work, we're just going to work on alternate nostril breathing here to end the class. So we're going to use the right hand and the right thumb to block off the right nostril, the ring finger on that right hand to block off the left. And we're going to inhale for the count of 4 through the left, hold for 4, exhale 4 through the right, and then we inhale again through the right side, hold for 4, exhale left. I'll talk you through it. So before we get started, we inhale through both nostrils deeply. Exhale through both nostrils deeply. One more time, inhale through both nostrils. And exhaling through both, bringing the hand up to the face, blocking the right nostril. Inhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale left, 1, 2, 3, 4. And just relax the hand down to your leg, maybe thumb touching onto that ring finger again. And just pause and just notice how you're feeling, how your physical body feels, how your mind feels. And maybe notice also on the scale from stagnation to lots of energy and fire, where you fall on that scale. Bringing hands to heart center. Inhale, reaching out to the sides and all the way up. Hands touch at the top, coming into Kali Mudra, pressing the fingers up high. And exhale, bringing those hands back down in Kali Mudra to the heart center. Inhale, reaching out to the sides and all the way up, hands touch. Kali Mudra, reaching fingers up. And exhale, hands down to heart center, that fire, bringing it into your heart. Inhale, reaching out and up, hands touch, Kali Mudra, reaching fingertips up, and exhale, bringing them to heart center, pausing here. And I'm just going to ask these questions one more time that we broached at the beginning of class. What changes are you passionate about seeing in your life and in the world? And how can you help to make these changes? Finding gratitude towards yourself here for taking the time for your body and for your mind, and bringing the hands up to the third eye center between the eyebrows. Always a pleasure guiding you through your practice. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.